fully framed in steel, concrete, and polished granite. And in a few weeks, the waterfalls in both will run for the first time together. Between the pools, the pavilion is fully clad in glass and steel, and 162 trees have taken root at the site, bringing new life to the World Trade Center. All but one of the trees on the memorial are swamp white oaks with leaves that will turn color around the September 11th anniversary each year. The one tree that is not a swamp white oak is a Callery pear tree, known to many as the survivor tree. 10 years ago, it stood on the original World Trade Center plaza, and when the towers collapsed and the complex was destroyed, most of the trees were too. But recovery workers found a small portion of this tree still intact, and the New York City Parks Department nursed the tree back to health. And in 2010, actually, it was struck by lightning. But true to its name, it recovered and is now thriving again at the World Trade Center. When he visited the memorial for the first time since taking office, President Obama found it only fitting that he lay a wreath next to the survivor tree in honor of all that it represents. As New Yorkers with a deep and vested interest in the growth of our city, you're all a part of building this national memorial. On this project, there is constant progress on many different levels. We're able to see physical progress on the site, and the release of the names arrangement and launch of the website I just showed is another mark of another kind of equally important progress, reminding us that commemoration is at the heart of our mission. In 2001, the bonds that unite us as New Yorkers, as Americans, and as part of humanity strengthened. And we should take just comfort in knowing that when circumstances require, we will come together and take care of one another with limitless compassion. I'd like to close by sharing with you another piece of material in the museum's collection that demonstrates just how profound the bonds between us are, even when, and in some ways because, we are touched by tragedy. On September 11th, 2001, astronaut Frank Anderson was in the International Space Station. He was the only American not on Earth.
As we went over Maine, we could see New York City and the smoke from the fires. Our prayers and thoughts go out to all the people there and everywhere else. Here I'm looking up and down the East Coast to see if I can see anything else. And to the people in Washington.
And Frank, that's an accurate assessment.
And I hope that the people responsible are caught and brought to justice as soon as possible. But first, our prayers and condolences to all involved. And I just wanted the folks to know that their city still looks very beautiful from space. I know it's very difficult for everybody in America right now. And I know folks are struggling very hard to deal with this and recover from it. But the country still looks good, and for New Yorkers, your city still looks great from up here.
10 years after that day, we will strengthen the bonds between us, and we will honor, remember, and reunite as we open the National September 11th Memorial to the world. Thank you so much for having me today. I'd be happy to take some questions, and they set up a microphone on either side if anybody wants to ask any questions. I think there has to be one at least. It's the rule. Do you want to take the mic? Or you can ask from there.
There are people that are still dying from the effects of 9/11. Will their names be added to this list?
So the memorial itself, which will have the names of the 2,983 victims that, by policy, the city's medical examiner has classified as a 9/11 homicide. They will be the names around the memorial. The story of the recovery workers who sacrificed, got sick, and are dying is an absolutely essential part of this project. And within the museum itself, we will be telling that story. We'll be recognizing the individuals who sacrificed and who died, and it's an incredibly important part of the narrative.
How much have you raised to date for this project, and what is left to be raised?
So we've raised nearly $400 million for the project from almost 400,000 individual contributions. We're basically 95% of the way there, so we're going to lock the doors here and get that last 5%. Seriously. No, but we have enough money to open the memorial and to run the memorial. We have about $20 million, a little bit more than $20 million that we want to raise before the museum opens. But it's been really a cross-section from very large gifts from corporations that lost people on that day, the financial services industry, as well as companies from across the country, individuals from all 50 states, from 39 different countries. It's been a real broad-based effort, and there's no better fundraiser than having Mayor Bloomberg as our chairman. So it's been a real broad effort. So the story of those that got sick will definitely be a part of the museum, and telling the story of their sacrifice is an incredibly important part. In fact, our most recent board member that joined, part of the reason that he joined, John Stewart, was the level of passion that he brought to the fight to make sure the 9/11 Health Bill, the Zadroga Act, got passed. So there's a very strong sentiment. That was something that the mayor, of course, was a huge champion of. There's a strong sentiment that if we're going to tell this story right, it's got to include that part of the story and also recognizing the individuals, and the museum is certainly going to do that.
Could you explain how the oak trees are going to make an arch shape as they grow from the east-west perspective?
Sure.
Big trees do what you want.
Well, particularly since the landscape architect isn't here, that'll be easy to answer. So these trees are the most, I can honestly say, and most cared for trees, I think, in the history of mankind. They've been growing in a field in horse country in New Jersey, and essentially they were picked not only for their durability, but essentially the way they grow is to grow to basically full height, which is about 60 feet, and their branches will span. So the way the planting was done, if you're looking down one way, you'll see these very regular rows of trees. If you're looking the other way, it'll look like an abacus. So it was very much part of the design that Michael Arad actually brought, and the landscape architect Peter Walker helped implement. But you can see it now when you're on the site. You can see the rows if you're looking one way, you can see the field if you're looking the other way, and it's going to be a pretty important part of the experience.